start off with still continuing with our scoring guide for item 3 and 4. How do we mark item 3 and 4 as far as mathematics is concerned? Let's go there. Okay, I think let's start off without wasting time. So first of all, we must see which topics are examined in item 3 and 4. As far as item 3 and 4 is concerned, which topics are examined in that area, which topics are examined in that area. We want to see which topics are set there. Okay. Let's get this first of all. Shall explain at once. Okay, so item 3 and 4, it states from data and probability. Okay, in here we must know that a learner appreciates and uses logical reasoning to solve problems in real life situations. Let's move on. That's the first topic, and that and that. Okay, let's start off. Now in here, these are the topics we have as far as item 3 and 4 is concerned. Now item 3 and 4 come from section B part 1, and section B part 1 we are meant to choose one question. So you may choose to do 3 or you may choose to do 4, but not all of them. Those are the instructions we have as of okay now. So item 3 and 4 is examined from 5 topics. It's just like item 1, because item 1 is also examined from 5 topics. Now the first topic is data collection and display. The data collection and display, this is what some people know as statistics. Data collection and display is what some people know as statistics. Next is graphs. Now graphs, this will have the distance time graphs. Maybe a bus was moving and a minibus also moved, maybe like that. You do a graph of that coming like that. That's a bus, a minibus. Then they start asking the question. This is the time where we do distance time graphs. That's what we mean by graph here. Then set theory. You all know that. Set theory. D3 set diagrams here. I know you're all familiar with them. Next is matrices, and lastly we have probability. That's what I have in there. But now I'm going to give just a little of the analysis. You realize that. To give a little of the analysis, please, last year Uneb, they set a number from this area, and that was, I think, item 4. Then okay, well, if I'm not mistaken, and please, if you go in the playlist, you go in our playlist, you will see that there is a question about Uneb of last year which we solved. On item 3 and 4 we solved them, and now one item was from statistics and another item was from set theory. This was as per Uneb 2024, but you never know, maybe Uneb 2025 still will be picked from here. Guess how this curriculum is very simple. Okay, now you never know. I'm not mentioned because now when I mention, some people will start underlining it and maybe think that's what will be examined. Please no, I'm just saying, for example, they may decide to set probability, and maybe they may start to set they can't repeat any of this. They can bring back statistics and maybe probability. They can bring back sets and maybe with matrices, or they can set matrices. So a simple advice to a teacher or student is that please make sure that as of now you must have covered probability, matrices, set theory, the graphs, and the data collection and presentation. Graphs, I've said, these are the distance, or sometimes the graph is what we call kinematics. In the old curriculum, that's what we used to call kinematics. I guess that simplifies the language to someone who really didn't know what that means. Okay. Having done that, now we know how that is set. Let's now go and see how marking is done. Okay, so guidance on scoring learners in a competency-based curriculum. We want to see what must you base on. What must you base on? What must you base on in order to award the marks? So we want to see what must you base on when awarding the marks. Let's first get this done. First of all, I have that. I have that. Right, good. The next we have this. Okay, so realize that as far as this is concerned, we have that. As far as this is concerned, okay, so in simple terms, that's what you're having. As far as the marking is concerned, we have that. Let's go and see how marks are awarded. In fact, we are having the I there. Let's go and see how the marking is done. Now, to begin with, we have what we call a presentation. Now, please, any question to do with item 3 and 4 must always be accompanied with the title. Any answer must be accompanied with the title as far as data and presentation is concerned. Of course, before you present something, you must put its title. So item 3 and 4, you must always put a title. Though, however, to be on the same side, if you're doing anything as far as new curriculum is concerned, you may put a title because some people may be scared. What if when we risk? Okay, well, you may put, but most importantly, item 3 and 4, where you have data and presentation, you must always write a title. Okay. Now, when scoring, we use the code P to mean presentation. The root must you know. In here, when you award the presentation, you must know that has the student presented the title of a graph, award a mark. Has the student written the data in the columns? That is if you are dealing with statistics, award a mark. Can the student write the data in matrices? Award a mark. Can the student use correct scale? That is when drawing the graph. Award a mark. Is the student able to label the graphs? Award a mark for presentation. Is the student able to plot and join the points correctly? That's maybe an ogive or histogram. Award a mark. Of course, they have clarified here. Or go back graph. Then is a student able to insert data in sets? That is if it is a 3-set diagram. Because remember, all these namings are given according to the topics we have here. By the way, you must bear this in mind. That is given according to the topics we have here. You see that I've hinted almost on everything on how you must award the eyes and the presentation. Then after presentation, what must you go to? After presentation, have this. After presentation, we shall go to the next part. Next part, which brings that. Now, presentation, we want to see the other. So, every area has 2-3 scoring areas. Like for item 1, had the I, M, and the application. Item 2 had the F, M, and application. We want to see this, that we have the M back again. Let's see. Now, for data and presentation, instead here, we don't have M, but we have what we call analysis. And what must have in the analysis? Let's go there. Okay, so have everything given to us there. Okay, next let's see the last scoring criteria. That's IN to mean interpretation. Now instead of application here we just have what we call interpretation. Let's go into that. Okay, now I think you can start off. Okay, now remember we had the first scoring criteria is P, which means presentation. We have seen that. Now next marking or code is A, that is analysis. Now we must see, is the student able to analyze that we must carry out matrix multiplication? From the question, is the student able to analyze that we must carry out matrix addition? In the question, is the student able to analyze that we must carry out matrix subtraction? You award a mark for your A. That is not application but just A for the analysis. Next, is the student able to analyze that we are meant to compute the cumulative frequency? Is the student able to analyze that we are meant to accumulate the mid value? Is the student able to know that we are meant, is the student able to analyze that we are meant to use the boundaries? You award, whenever you see this, you award A. If you see this, you award A. Now, is the student able to substitute the data in the formula of, say for example, median, mode, and mean? You award a formula for accuracy, rather not accuracy but analysis. Is the student able to determine the position, the median position? Like say for example, median is a half of the total frequency. Then you go in the bars and locate where the median is. Is the student able to do that? You give the mark for accuracy. Can the student determine the mode? Is the student able to estimate the median or mode using a graph? Award the mark for the analysis. Can a student compute a probability? That is if a topic is about probability, like we said. Please, we have these ones here. They cater for each and every topic. We have probability in there, so it has been catered for fully. Now, lastly, in the interpretation, which is more like our application, like in item 1 and 2, here we want to see IN means interpretation. Is a student able to interpret? Say if they say maybe 50% of the students eat maybe cassava and beans. Is the student able to analyze what this percentage mean? Is the student able to know that a percentage in sets means probability relating? So that interpretation in a conclusive way, we say a learner makes a conclusion to the task, analyzes and gives us a final answer in a statement form. Is what we mean by interpretation. Just remind you, the marking criteria is P to mean presentation, A to mean accuracy, and IN to mean interpretation. This is a bit unique when it comes to item 1 and 2. Please take note. Okay, let's now move on without wasting time. Okay, good. We have now moved on to item 3, and guess what? The item 3 was examined or brought from the mighty statistics. Okay, let's go there. Start off without wasting time. Now, I know all of you are familiar with the statistics, and I know this will just be a walkover for us all. Okay, now what's going to happen here is that they're saying learners, let me just get this. So they're saying learners visited a factory making biscuits. The manager showed them the records of masses of biscuits. The manager showed them records of masses of biscuits produced by factory, as in the table below. Okay, we have a table, mass, it has given us that. Okay, good. When the learners asked the manager about the value of the mass below which half, let's go and underline this. The learners asked the manager about the value of the mass below which half of the biscuits produced lie. He was not sure, he was not certain of the actual value. Below half now, the value of the mass which below half of the biscuits lie, now there. Okay, here they asked him some question about the mass where half of the mass of the biscuits lie. In fact, he failed to give them, but in simple terms, here what you must know is that when it comes to statistics, please, you must bear in mind that some statements mean certain words in statistics. Like, so for example, if you are dealing with median, then what must you expect if you are dealing with median? You don't must expect median if they use the word half. They use the word 50%. If they give you a percentage anywhere, just when they want you to find median, 50% like that, that means what? Median. Then also, which words mean? Okay, if they want you to find the mean, which words must you see? The word mean, which words must you see? The word mean, you should see the word average. The word average. And if still they're asking about mean, they can say maybe based on calculations, find the time when the meeting should start. If they're talking about time when something should start, a time when something should start, or is you find mean. The next, the term mode. When do you use the word mode? Now with the mode, we use the word, if they say the word, okay, if they use the word, okay, most, if they use the word most appearing, that means mode, most appearing. If they use the word, okay, if they use the word several times, that means mode. If they use the word always, that means mode. If they use the word most of the times, that is always mode. If they use the word highest, that is mode. Now, look at this question, they're saying half. That means that in this question you're going to find the median. Strictly from that language, we can, okay, be able to come up or draw that conclusion straight away without wasting time. Okay, and now what you're going to do here is, in simple terms, we must go and draw a table. Now you must know, when you're dealing with the median, what must you know? This median can be drawn using a graph, and the graph used to determine median is a I'll remove this. Okay, and okay, this question is talking about median. Then you know that the graph used to determine median is an ogive which is like this, or is like that, whereby here we have, okay, class boundary, and here we have the cumulative frequency. So it means that your table must have a cumulative frequency and it must have a class boundary. Please take note of that. What am I going to add? Now in the columns of the table I have mass. This number of biscuits is the frequency. So I have the mass, which you call the classes, I have the frequency. Now the next column I will add will be cumulative frequency and class boundary. Here we don't just draw classes anyhowly, we base on the language in the number. That's when we bring in other columns. So our column will be, first one will be for mass, next will be for frequency. Those ones I'm getting them from there. And now next will be about cumulative frequency. Why? It is needed when it comes to finding the median. Okay, then also shall need the class boundary. Why it is needed when it comes to finding the median. And now this is what we shall use in the next part. Let's go there. So to start with, let's start off. Let's do a table. So what's the scoring grade for item 3? And we see how it is marked. Then also before I proceed, please, what you must know is, as a teacher, when you're setting a paper to do with the item 3 or item 4, which are all in section B part 1, make sure that item 3 and 4 must have the same marks. If you choose to set item 3 out of 18, then even item 4 must be out of 18. If you choose to set item 3 out of 20, even item 4 must be out of 20. Don't always interchange, because it will bring some imbalance. If you set item 3 out of 18 and the other out of 20, then it will bring in some problems. However, when I was marking here, I was aiming at showing you the areas where the marks must be put. So I may not base on that reason. I picked these questions from different sources and they're not examined in one paper, so I know they did here a sensor out to me to see that they have the same scores. Let's do the table. Okay. Let's do our table. Our table. Have there our mass. We've got our frequency there. We've got our cumulative frequency. And we've got our class boundary. Now I will still comment on this. I know someone will ask, please, is it a mass that we must write them in statement form? No. Please, you may choose to put here just F. You may choose to put here C.F to mean cumulative frequency. You may put here CB to mean class boundary. But you must now come and define. And you say F is for frequency. Okay. CF is for cumulative cumulative frequency, and the CB is for class boundary. That's what you do. Anyway, hope that really makes some sense. Now, please, I said, this must always be a title. So you can see now a frequency distribution table showing the masses of biscuits produced by a certain company. Please, you must always put a title. Personally, I did put it there because I knew I would comment on it. Okay, let's, I think, proceed. We begin by putting in the max in each case. So we have that. 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 Please, I'm picking them from the question. I'm picking them from the question. As simple as that. The frequency is that 3, 11, 21, 8, 4, and 2. Now, how do you get cumulative frequency? Please, we get cumulative frequency. This value, bring it forward. That is a 1. Now, that 1 plus 3, we get a 4. Now, this 4 plus 11, we get a 15. This 15 plus 26, we get a 36. This 36 plus 8, we get a 44. A 44 plus 4, we get a 48. A 48 plus 2, we get a 50. As simple as that. Let's see how that magic comes about. 1, a 4, a 15, a 36, a 44, and finally 50. The next, to now get a class boundary here, on this you subtract 0.5, please, and on this you add 0.5. So on this you add 0.5. Let's see how that comes about. When you subtract 0.5, that will be 99.5 up to that. Please, we do the same for all these values here. Subtract 0.5, then you put the other side in the class boundary column. These ones remain constant, you leave them the way they are. Then here you add 0.5 in each case. Let's go there and see. Have that to that. Have that to that. We have that to that. Finally have that. Okay, and finally we have that. So this implies that, just to comment a little bit, this implies that, please, when you are dealing with this arrays, okay, when you subtract 0.5 from this, you get that. When you add 0.5 from this, you get that. Subtract 0.5, you get that. Add 0.5, you get that. Subtract 0.5, you get that. Add 0.5, you get that. Subtract 0.5, you get that. Add 0.5, you get that. Subtract 0.5, you get that. Add 0.5, you get that. Subtract 0.5, you get that. Add 0.5, you get that. Subtract 0.5, you get that. And you get this when you add 0.5. I hope that makes some sense. Please, if you want to see more work about statistics, you go in our playlist and look for the Uneb solutions. We solve that. You go in the playlist and check for Uneb items. We happen to have solved that. Now let's see how the scoring is done. Let's go on. Let's see how the scoring is done. So you're saying that P is equal to 1. Reason: a student is able to present a correct, that P is equal to 1 is for the title, by the way. Now another P is equal to 1. Why? A student is able to identify that you're going to use class boundaries in here. Another P is equal to 1 is for a student is able to know that we are going to use is finding the cumulative frequency. In fact, putting the masses and frequencies. Of course, a student has also known that when he said number of biscuits, like anywhere here, they said number of biscuits, a student is able to know that that can be presented as just frequency in simple terms. Okay, P, another P is equal to 1 is for cumulative frequency. In fact, it's more like every column here is awarded. Only that what you must put in mind, or what you must know, is that I will make this highlight a little bit. This area and this area, since they were given the question, we put only presentation 1. Here you put presentation and here presentation. Any new column, you put P is equal to 1 to mean presentation is equal to 1. The next, remember, here to find the cumulative frequency, we were adding. So to add, that is now we use the word, okay, analyzing, and there we're using the code as A. So correct analysis done there. So A3 is equal to 1. Now, why do we call it A3? It's because item 1, that is 1, item 2, that is 2. Now section B part 1 is 3, then section B part 2 is 4. You should take it as that, not necessarily that item 3, because even in item 4 shall use A3 to mean that item 1 is one category, item 2 is another category, section B part 1 is another category, and section B part 2 is another category. Okay, we move on. So we have that. Then also for class boundary been subtracting, shall put also A3 is equal to 1. Those are the scores we can award there as far as that is concerned. You can rewind back the video and see how the scoring comes about. Let's move on. Right, so there we are. So we're going ahead to find now the position of the median value. Now before you calculate, you must find the position of the median value. Before you calculate, you must find the position of the median, okay, value. And how will you find that position? Let's go back here and see something. So what you must know is, okay, we'll take this. The position of the median, okay, sorry. Okay, the position of the median value here is this. You get a half times total frequency. What is the total frequency? Please, the last value in the cumulative frequency column is the total frequency. So times 50. That's how we find the median value. This will give us this value here. I put that. So the value you get will be the 2050. Okay, value. The 2050 value on the cumulative frequency. Now let's go and find it for 2050. Where can 25 be on the cumulative frequency column? 25 is where we have here 15. So 25 is inside this 36. So now the cumulative, the median class you're going to use is the one surrounding that circle we have put across, surrounding this. And from there, that implies that from the median, this will be our L0, this will be our L0, like that. This will be cumulative frequency before and cumulative frequency after. Let's go there and see that. I'll be referring you back. But from the question, what you must know is that, okay, L0 is equal to, alright, 129.5, that's L0. Then class boundary C. Class boundary means you subtract the values of the class bound, rather the class interval C. You subtract this minus this. 109.5 minus 99.5, that will give you what? It will give you 10. C is equal to 10 in simple terms. Then the cumulative frequency before the median class is what? Is 15. I'm summarizing this for you. And then lastly, that's what we have, the frequency itself. So the real frequency in the median class, will be this. F in the median class will be the one covered here. In the column of the frequency is now our 21. Let's now go on there and substitute. Let's go there and substitute. Okay, proceed. So you have median. The formula of median is given as L0 plus, okay, so it's given as L0. I'll highlight. L0 means lowest class boundary in the median class. N over 2, whereby N means total frequency, which is 50. CFB means cumulative frequency before the median class. And X times C, it means a class interval. Now what do you mean by median class? Median class is what I've shaded here. What I've shaded here like this is what we call a median class. All our answers come from there. Let's go and see the substitutions very fast. Maybe to summarize. So L0 is equal to 129.5. Then N is equal to 50. CFB is equal to 15. F is equal to 21. And C is equal to 10. Now we're going to substitute them in the formula that will give us median is equal to. Let's go there and see. So it means that this L0 will be put there, this N will be substituted there, cumulative frequency 15 will be put here, and the C will be put here, as shown here. Now here must simplify using a calculator, and next we shall get 129 plus 4.7619, and then our median will be 134.3 grams. So why are we finding the median? Is because of we saw how the question is set. They talked about half, which means a median. Let's now conclude. We shall say now half of the disputes are below 134 point. Okay, it is meant to be 134.3 grams. It was just a typing error, I think, like that. Let's see how the marking is done. Now a student is able to know that we are identifying the position, that is a student is able to analyze the position of the median class. We award a mark. Correct use of the formula with correct substitutions, we award a mark. We add a mark for a correct answer. Then we award a mark for conclusion. Now the conclusion in item 3 and 4, we call it interpretation. So student has interpreted that half means median, has calculated and has given us a conclusion as that. Now next, when you may choose not to use a formula and use a graph. Now which graph do you use to find the median of a number? So a graph we use to find the median is strictly the ogive. Let's go there and see. So we have it as that is our ogive. Let's see how we can demarcate very fast. Let's see how the demarcations are done. Let's demarcate. Then we do the numbering. The numbering as that. We put the class boundaries down. We do that. Your advice, please, if you have time, you always also draw for them a graph, because they may need it. They may need it. Okay, no. Now, okay, what we're going to do now, shall say. Now, we want to plot, but what do we plot? I know someone's asking that. What do we plot? Please, what we plot is this. Okay, I will clear up this. Allow me clear up this. Allow me clear up this. Okay. Just allow me bring back this. Okay, we have it as that. So what you're going to do in simple terms, okay, so you have that. Now let's highlight. Now what you're going to use here is, when plotting the class boundary on the horizontal, we shall use these values here, starting from 9.5 to this, to that, to that, to that, to that, to that, to that. That is on the horizontal. Then on the vertical, we shall use the cumulative frequency. How do we use it? The highest value in the cumulative frequency is 50, so you can use a scale of your choice. So we shall see. So when you do this way we shall put our class boundaries on the horizontal, and cumulative frequency will be put on the what? On the vertical. Let's go there and see. You now plot. Now how is the plotting done? Let's go back there and see. So the plotting is done this format. Pick black ink. So where you have cumulative frequency as 1, you plot it at 109.5. Where you have 4, will be plotted against this. Where you have this, you plot there 8. Where you have this, you plot there 36. Where you have this, you plot there 44. Where you have this, you plot there 48. Where you have this, you plot there 50. And let's go and see how that comes about. Okay, good. Let's see how the plotting is done. So, but at 99 point, maybe what I didn't comment about is this. What I didn't comment about is this. Now, this beginning value here, we get something here. Wait. So, this value here, you plot it at 0. Meanwhile, the other ones go on like I've said. So, let's go there and see. Okay, let's see. Now, we have plotted it. Okay. We have plotted that at 0. We have plotted at 99.5. We have plotted at 0. Now, just give you some analysis. So, at 99.5, we have plotted at 0. At the okay, next you're going to plot a 4. Next, now my scale, if you look at this, please, my scale according to the graph I'm using, is that from here up to here is 5. Means that midway here is 2.5. I don't know whether that makes some sense. It's 2.5. So I'm trying to plot in simple terms. I'm trying to plot. So now at 109 here we are plotting 1. Then at 119 we are plotting a 4. Let's see. Then at this we are plotting. Now you see that 4 is here. Midway down from here, from 2.5 you have there 4. Don't know that you'll be able to figure that out. Okay, next, now at 129.5 we have 15. You see that 15 is there. Now at 139.5 we have a 36. It is up dozens. And then we have at okay, at 149.5 we have a 44. Then at 159.5 we have a 48. Then okay, sorry. Then at 50, rather at 169.5 we have a 50. We have plotted that. Then next, to your ogive will be drawn. You draw a line to pass through these points here, like this, okay, like that. Okay, this is disturbing. It must be a smooth curve up to that level, and that's how our ogive is going to appear. Let's go there. Erase this off. Okay, now our ogive is as shown there. That's now our ogive. It must always be a smooth, okay, curve. Now, how do we determine the median using an ogive? How do we determine the median? Please, I talked about this. When doing this, remember to label the axes, and remember to label the axes, and remember to give us a title. I talked about this. Data and probability needs a title on almost every part you're doing. Okay, now here on the horizontal, most teachers use class boundary, but I would suggest that you look into the question. If a question talk about marks of students, on the horizontal you put marks. If a question talk about age of students, in the horizontal you put age. If a question talk about weights of students somewhere, you put here weight. Now this one talk about mass of biscuits, we put here mass. Then instead of saying the word cumulative frequency, just say number of people, number of students, like that. However, still, the way your teacher taught you makes some better sense. Please, we are not saying that what your teacher taught is wrong. It is very, very correct. However, this is better. But if you can't comply with it, then you can stick to what your teacher told you in simple terms. Now let's see how we determine the median. Now the median is always a half times the total frequency. And total frequency was what? 50. Here you get a 25. Now that 25, you come and look for it on this axis here. Why do we have 25? Like it is here. So you have to use the dotted line to join this line here. Then you do a line down like that. That will be your median. Let's go there and see how that comes about. Let's see. So there, like that. Now that point is what shall give us the median, and let's see how it comes about. So if I try to read the coordinates there, the median will be 134.5, confirming the answer we had got originally back then. So our median will be 134.5. Please, you must be able to read here, because this has been 129 plus how many small squares are here? There are 5. So you realize that when you say 129.5 plus how many small squares are there? There are 5. Okay, then what must you do? What must you do here? You must add this plus that. Why am I saying 1 is because from here up here we have 10 small squares. So when you add them, you get 134.5. Let's go ahead and conclude. A conclusion will say the mass below which half of the biscuit lie is 134.5. The mass below which the mass below which half of the biscuits lie is 134.5. Let's see how the marking is done. We said a correct title, you award a mark for presentation. The correct smooth curve, award a mark for presentation. Okay, the correct median, since you have computed, you add a 3 for analysis. Okay, then for interpretation, which is the conclusive remark, you award IN. That pushes us straight away to item 4, and this item 4, please, is on sets. Please, I said item 3 and 4 are all examined or are all marked in the same way. Without wasting time, let's get there. Okay, let's start off. Shall be outlining where necessary. Let's go ahead. So here they're saying that, okay, Simon sells ice cream in schools, and the ice cream is of 3 flavors. We have 3 flavors. We have chocolate, we have vanilla, we have strawberry. Now, having done that, what you must begin with is letting and telling us what those okay colors mean, the letters. Let's go and first of all do that, I think. Anyway, I think let's first of all conclude with this, then we go there at once. So we have vanilla, strawberry, and chocolate. Okay, now he wants to introduce the same business in your school. Okay, he knows that for the business to succeed, the probability that the learner will take at least 2 flavors should be greater than 5. The probability a learner takes at least 2 flavors should be greater than 5. The word is probability. Underline it. Now, seeing this statement doesn't mean that you are in for probability. No. Okay, now they're saying he is uncertain of his business success in your school. The study I've carried out in your school indicates that 158 learners like chocolate. So that means that, let's make our summary here. Number in chocolate, we shall call it C. Number in chocolate is 158. Let's summarize here. Okay, 130 like vanilla, so that is number in V. We have it as 130. Very good. And 188 like strawberry, that means that number in S is equal to 188. That's the first summary. We are summarizing at once. Okay, the same. 40 learners like chocolate and vanilla. That means that number in chocolate intersection vanilla is 40. Now, what does this imply? Please, the word and means intersection. So they say that 40 like chocolate and vanilla. This and means intersection. So the C intersection vanilla. Okay, good. We have it as 40. 80 like strawberry and vanilla. So number in strawberry S intersection vanilla. They were how many? They are 80. Now 88 like chocolate and strawberry. So 88. So number in chocolate intersection strawberry is 88. Very good. The next, 10 like none of the 3. So 10 like none of the 3. Now that none means a neither. Means a neither. So neither is equal to 10. What I'm meaning with neither is that when you do all the 3 circles like this, okay, this is the Venn diagram of ours, that number should always be outside the circles. That's what we mean by neither. As simple as that. Then there is the logic here. They're saying the number of learners who like all the 3, the number of learners who like all the 3 flavors is equal to the number of those who like chocolate and vanilla only. Shall analyze that logic also in the time to come. Let's go and summarize that. What you have summarized, they put it in writing. So task, using the data from yesterday, do you advise Simon to introduce the business in your school? Now, introducing the business in the school means that at least means this actually. I will go back to it. So here they say that the probability that the learners will take at least 2 of the flavors. If at least 2 of the learners take the flavors, if at least 2, if the probability that the students who are taking at least 2 of the flavors are greater than 0.5, then the business can succeed. If it is below, business does not succeed. Take note. Here they can even say that if the chance of a student taking at least 2 of the flavors is 50%, they can as well bring this as a percentage. Whenever it says a percentage in the set number, just know you are going to deal with a probability. They can write this one as 50%. So whenever you say percentage in a set number, just know it's about probability. And please go in our playlist. There is a full topic about sets to learn more skills about how we handle sets. They were indeed simplified. Have some time and go there and watch them. Okay, so they want us to determine and give a reason. Will you put a business? Now, putting a business means that the probability at least 2 of the learners taking at least 2 flavors must be greater than 0.5. That's when the business should be successful. Let's calculate. So our aim is find the probability, but you can't do that when you don't have a correct Venn diagram. Okay, let's go there. Okay. I think let's summarize from here. Let's summarize from here first of all. So let's see the scoring gauge for item 4. So we shall say now, let C represent the number of learners who love chocolate flavor. Also we have that. And also we have that. So let V mean vanilla, S mean, alright, strawberry. Let's go and bring the summary which I had already written there for you. We have that already summarized. We have that already summarized. We have that already summarized. We have got that already summarized. We have that already summarized. We have that already summarized. Okay, we have that already summarized. But now this one here is, now this one's a meaning complement, which means neither a complement on each side. Then lastly, now remember, before you begin, please, what you must know is that before we start off any set number, then what must we consider? What must we consider, please? This. If you have a set number, if this is our set, please, I'm just drawing sketches. In doing any set number, let me even change the color here. When doing any set number, please, the first part you should substitute in is this one for all the three. Now let's check, do we have it anywhere in this data? We don't have it. So if you don't have it, the first thing you do is to let it to be any letter of your choice. Let's go ahead and see. We let it to be any letter of our choice. We let it to be any letter of our choice. So we let the number in C intersection V intersection S, which is all the three, be what? Bx. As simple as that. That is our summary for the set. Now next we must go and draw a Venn diagram. Let's go there. So a Venn diagram must always be a title which shall say that the information is summarized in the Venn diagram below. That is now our what? Our title. Let's move on. Okay. Next is drawing our Venn diagram. Our Venn diagram is there. Okay. Next, that's the first set. We can call it anything. We shall call it C. Number in C is 158. We are putting the data there. That one we shall call it our set V. So the number in V is equal to 130. And last, this one shall call it S. And number in S is equal to 188. Now we substitute in the values which we have already. Remember, we have this. Remember, we have this. We have these values here. We have them there. So let's go and put them there. Realize that. How shall I present this? Now you see that we have presented this, we have presented that, we have presented that. Now, if you have a Venn diagram as that, Venn diagram as that, Venn diagram of this. If I told you this is our C, this is our V, and this is our, okay, wait, this is our S. Then how do we put the values? Now C intersect. Now remember, we have our X in the middle there. Have our X in the middle there. Okay. Now how shall we put that? So you see that the number in C intersection V is 40. Where is C intersection V is 40. So that works for all this area. If there is no the word, now here they didn't have put the word only. If there is no the word only, you come and say now that 40 minus X. That's the logic. This one also doesn't have only. S intersection V, it is here. So you say 80 minus X. Here it was 88. 88 minus X. That's the first thing we are going to do. Let's go there. And then we have it there. Midway have X. That be 40 minus X presented already. 80 minus X and 88 minus X. Now next, our level, in next level here, we are meant to get what do we have in this area? What do we have in this area? What do we have in this area? Now we shall call it letter A for that, letter B for that, and letter C for that. Now we want to see how to get letter A. But where is letter A? Letter A is now in set C. Let's go and see that. So okay, this 10 is also there down. Alright, now let's see. Using total number in C. Number in C is this whole circle here. So we want to get the value of A, which is the value of the unknown. How shall we do? The A plus that plus that plus that equate to 158. Let's do that. That's the method I'm using, please. So you see that I have the A plus X plus 40 minus X plus 88 minus X. We are aiming at finding a value of A. When you cancel out the X's, you get that. A plus, when you add this plus this, you get 128. This x goes out with this, so you remain with the minus x. So a plus 128 minus x, so shall have as the value of x. So when you take this 128 this side, it will become a minus, while this x will become a plus. We are aiming at getting the value of a. Now our a will be a is equal to 30 plus a is equal to 30 plus x. That's what we have as our a. Rise of this. Then you put it in the place of a. Let's go and see number in v. Do the same. V will be, okay, maybe I'll have to come back and do this. Okay, so this will now be, you add this plus this plus this plus b equal to that, and that's what you have there. Then solve for value of b just like we did in part A. You have that b is equal to 130 plus that, so b is equal to 10 plus x. Let's put it there. B is equal to 10 plus x. Then similarly, you use the same knowledge to do for c. I'll just do direct. You also try a number in s is equal to 188 and do the same. You get the value of c as that without wasting time. Let's see how the marking is done. Now we have that p is equal to 1 for correct title. I told you we use the same marking criteria with item 3 and 4. Next, p is equal to 1 for correct naming of the set. Another p is equal to 1 for naming the sets. You award the mark. F4, why we, in order to get this accuracy for item 4 is F4, which is okay 10 plus 6, 10 plus x. Why you say accurate, or rather why do we say analysis? Is because we have added somewhere. Now the analysis substitutes the manipulation and the manipulation in item 1 and 2. So we have analyzed there, we have analyzed that you have to add in order to get that. We have also analyzed that. Okay, next, let's go to the next part. Now one would ask why we didn't mark here, is because one would even ask why we didn't mark this. One would ask why we didn't mark, okay, one would ask why did we mark this. Please, this one has been catered for by this one has been catered for by, okay, in fact, if you let me just remove this. So what I want to bring out here on table is, what happened here is, in order to get this, they used this. That's why we are giving a score this side, not in the working. To get this, they calculated there to get this. That's why the final score is here for all the calculations done there. Now similarly, we are giving for this, but this one I told you can also try it out using the same procedure. Now next part. And the next part, let's go ahead to answer. Now next part, you're bringing in the logic. Logic says, they're saying the number of members who love all the 3 subjects or the 3 flavors is equal to those who love chocolate and vanilla only. Okay, now that can be mathematically written as that. Can be mathematically written as that. Put a complement on s. Now here, please, here we have a complement. There is a complement on this s. So when you have c and v, if you have 3 letters written but one of them has a complement, you read the ones without a complement, then you add the word only. That's why you're saying that this one's love chocolate and vanilla only. We write like that. This one means all the 3. Where is that location of chocolate and vanilla only? Let's go and see it there. Now chocolate and vanilla only is here. Let me use purple. Okay, I'll use this. Chocolate and vanilla only. Where are you? Chocolate and vanilla only. It is this area here. That's done for chocolate and vanilla only. It is this area. Then the one for all the 3 is this area. So the logic part is coming from that. They are equal. So you're going to equate this equal to that, so that you can go on. Let's go and see. We are going to equate 40 minus x equal to x. We get the value of x. So sometimes the logic part can help you find the value of x. Let's go there. Oh, sorry. Let's go ahead. So x is equal to 40 minus x as explained. When you solve correct like terms, you get to x. Shall get that divided on both sides by 2. You get your x as 20. Okay, hope that really makes some sense. Makes some big sense. Little bit. Okay, now here, when you correct like terms, this x adds to becomes a positive, and you shall have a plus x here. When you add the 2 x's, you get 2x is equal to 40. To find the value of x, divide both sides by 2. 40 divided by 2, you get 20. So our x is equal to 20. Let's now proceed. Since our x is equal to 20, we must now go and redraw our Venn diagram. We put it in the value of x, and we have a completed Venn diagram with the values, not unknowns. Let's go to the next level. Have it as that. We will draw a Venn diagram. Have it as that. Have it as that. The labelings, and again. Then in there, have there 10, 20 there, have there 20. Now, how is that? I will explain. There, have that, have that, have that. Now, please, what you're trying to do here is that, in simple terms, okay, I'll go back to this. When you get the 20, please, when you get the 20 and substitute here, like say for example, 30 plus x plus 20, here it will be 20 minus 20, 30 minus 20, midway have 20, 80 minus 20, here it will be 80 minus 20, rather 80 minus 20, 80 minus 20, 10 plus 20, 20 plus 20. The answers you get will give you this table with this. Okay, sorry. We'll give you that in Venn diagram. Let's now go ahead and see. Now next, remember our worry here was, I want you to go and memorize this. Our worry was on this. They're saying, using the data from your study, do you advise Simon to introduce the business in your school? Give a reason, but we must only advise Simon to introduce a business only if the business, the probability that the learners will take at least 2 flavors should be greater than 0.5. So you can't find it. You go in the question and find the probability the learners are eating at least 2 of the flavors, and if it is greater than 0.5, then you say yes. So we're going to find the probability. Let's do that in the next part. Probability. Okay, now we shall say probability at least 2 flavors. What does it mean? What does the word at least 2 mean? Now at least 2 flavors means, that's the meaning of at least 2 flavors. At least 2 means only 2 plus all the 3. Maybe just to make you understand this. So what I mean by all the 3 is this red ink means all the 3. Now where they mean only 2, I'll be putting the shading yellow. I'll use yellow to mean only 2. Now this is for only 2, again only 2, again only 2. That is it. So we are meant to add the values there, yellow and red, to get the one for only 2 and all the 3, which will give us the statement at least 2. Please, if you can't understand these statements, you go in the playlist. You have a full topic about sets. You can learn more about it. You will understand why it is like that. So we have at least 2 will now be a 20 plus 60 plus 68. I think you can see it from up there. I think let me erase of this so that you can see clearly. That is it. Now let's get that answer for at least 2. That answer will give us 168. Now let's find that probability, which I now say. But probability is equal to from what? Probability is equal to number of what they have asked for over number in the universal. So number in at least 2. Why at least 2 is because the question is talking about. Why at least 2 is because the question is talking about. Okay, at least 2. Let's proceed. So number in the universal we add. So the number in the universal, what I meant to do. So the number in the inverse, we are meant to use this. Make a highlight here. The number in the inverse, I meant to add this plus that, plus that, plus that, plus that, plus that, plus that, plus this. Please, we don't add these ones. We don't add those ones there. It's very wrong and not acceptable. So when you add all this here, what you will get? Now, why you getting number in the inverse is because it will be needed down here. Then we shall form it a fraction later. Let's see how the scores are done. F4 for that. F4 for the completed table, F4 for finding the at least. Let's now move to the next part. Please, I hope this makes some sense. Maybe there's more explanation. Okay, what I'm meaning here is, I will erase that off. Okay, so you see that this one is for calculations here. This F4 is for, we have manipulated where we were saying 10 plus x and so on. That's for analysis. We have awarded there. Now we have also analyze that we are meant to add in order to find the probability. We have it there, right? So let's move to the next part. The next part talks about our final part, which says probability is now equal to, since we have all the answers, which will be 168 over 298. 298 is our total, or the universal. Now that will give us now probability of at least 2 flavors. Will give us 0.5638. Let's go there. 5638. Let's go there. Now here what you must know is, I'll use red ink. Now 5, this one here is greater than 0.5. The one they said in the question, now it's greater than 0.5. What does it mean? It means that they will have to introduce, the business can be successful in that place. So let's conclude. They will say, since the probability of the learners loving at least 2 flavors is 0.5638 and is greater than 0.5, the business will succeed. That's our simple conclusion. Let's now go ahead and see how the scores are done. F4 for that, for dividing, and IN interpretation for the good conclusion. Okay, and that brings us to the end of section B part 1, marking or scoring guide, and how they are all set. Have a nice day. Please don't forget to hit the like button, don't forget to comment, don't forget to share, also don't forget to subscribe. More to come. Go in the playlist, there are a lot more interesting academic work. Have a nice time, nice reading.